Launch control, this is Houston. We are go for launch.
Hold on to your lug nuts. It's time for an overhaul.
Turn it up, son.
I'm your huckleberry.
I don't give jobs, I hire men. You won't give me anything, and I won't give you anything.
Collision, sir.
Whoa, relax. We're not even moving.
There's no crying in baseball.
Live and statewide from Spence Broadcast Plaza, we're News New Mexico with Jim Spence and Michael Swickard. It is Tuesday, June 19th, 2012. Aaron Henry Diaz is here. I'm Michael Swickard. Jerry Harden is our producer-director. You can go to newsnm.com, follow along. Also, we have podcasts if you wish to hear an hour again. Well, you probably want to hear this one because we have Marita noon, Energy Makes America Great. What is it? Org, yes.
Whew.
Energy makes
.org.
.org. Energy Makes America Great.org. You are writing about PTC. Tell us about PTC.
Well, real quick, I just want to get on the record from Marita again. She has stated time and time again that she is against, or she is for ending all subsidies, correct?
That is correct.
All energy subsidies.
Now, Marita, can you explain to me what is a hot wind subsidy then?
Well, that's really a good question. A hot wind subsidy might be one that a Republican supports. Like, you don't really want to touch it, but someone does, such as Karl Rove or Governor Sam Brownback, because, you see, historically, support for renewable energy, support for energy tends to be a partisan issue. You wouldn't think that it's a partisan issue, but it tends to be because Republicans historically support what I like to call responsible energy. And the responsible energy is the stuff that actually works.
Oh, you mean government is supposed to be involved with things that work? Oh, man, you could have knocked me over with a feather here.
Common sense policy? What?
Yeah.
Yes, and Democrats tend to favor the so-called renewable energy, which is the stuff that we hope will work someday. And when we are in an economic war, as we are at the moment, how responsible is it to be throwing good money after bad for stuff that doesn't work?
Well, it depends on whether it's your money or somebody else's money.
Exactly. It's a private investor would not be doing what the government is doing because a private investor would look at the data and go, this is foolish. It's time to cut our losses and run. And that's where we are with subsidies, particularly to wind energy. And it's not that wind energy is uniquely worse than say, solar energy. It's that the wind energy subsidies, which have kept the industry alive for the last 20 years, expire now in 6 months. At the end of December of this month, the wind energy subsidies, which is called the PTC, the Production Tax Credit, they expire at the end of this year. And the American Wind Energy Association is just all over Capitol Hill in panic because it's known that if these subsidies expire, the industry will virtually collapse. They cannot survive after 20 years of getting our tax dollars to underwrite the wind energy industry. The credits expire at the end of this year.
So have they produced real factual evidence that these subsidies have contributed to the American energy makeup to where it's actually sustaining Americans' energy needs?
Well, yes and no. I mean, they are actually, the wind subsidies particularly have contributed to the explosion of the wind turbines that we see dotting the landscape of America, particularly the Midwest and the Southwest, because those are where the most wind is. So, yes, I mean, we have proof that the PTC has contributed to the expansion of wind energy development. Now, does that mean that wind energy can sustain our economy? No, it does not mean that at all. And does that mean that wind energy is economic or a good choice? No. I mean, again, the wind energy industry is just in panic mode that they've tried 4 times in 5 months to get the wind energy, the PTC, extended. They've attached it to different bills in Congress 4 different times.
And
So
Karl
far this year.
Rove is supporting this extension of the PTC.
Karl Rove was at the American Wind Energy Association convention a week ago, speaking in favor of extending the production tax credit, as was Republican Governor Sam Brownback.
So here's the question, which is, we've given all these subsidies. Are they using those subsidies to make the wind energy work, or are they using it to lobby Congress?
Well, they're doing some of each. They're using the subsidies to build the industrial wind parks, the power, the big commercial scale industrial wind plants. However, so they are using it to make wind energy, but you can be sure that the wind energy is. Here's an interesting little tidbit. This will give you an interesting. It'll make your hair stand up on your neck. Okay, I was possibly going to be speaking, and maybe I could raise money just off of this comment. I was possibly going to be speaking at a conference coming up at the end of this month in Ohio called the We the People Convention. It's kind of a group of Tea Party types. Okay, this convention, I told them I would love to speak there, but I need to have my airfare covered. So we're talking $500 I need. So I said I'll come, but I need my airfare covered. I heard through someone on the committee that the Ohio Energy Alliance is one of the contributors, backers to this event. And they were told, the organizers were told, that they could not have anyone speak there who would say anything bad about wind energy.
Uh-oh. Well, there you go. You're in trouble.
So and I haven't raised the money to go, so I'm not going. I need $500 for airfare so that I can go. So anyway.
Okay, we got a bake sale. We got a car wash. We'll get her to Ohio. Marita Noon, Energy Makes America Great. We did. We rang for Marita Noon, EnergyMakesAmericaGreat.org. Marita, this is News New Mexico. I'm Michael Swicker. We got Aaron Henry Diaz here. Marita, I can make a case for every one of the alternative energies at some point in some fashion. You know, you're off the grid. You're out where they can't string lines unless you were a billionaire. I can make a case for it, but for the rest of us, I cannot make a case for it.
And that's the issue. You know, we do know that we can make electricity from the sun and we can make electricity from the wind. We just can't do it efficiently, effectively, or economically. And that's the problem with forcing it upon the public through mandates that require that states have a certain amount of renewable energy. And an interesting thing I always find is that hydropower, not that that's a relevant issue for us here in New Mexico, but that hydropower is not ever considered renewable in these mandates that require renewable energy.
Good grief. You take Elephant Butte in the 30s. They did their second phase of Elephant Butte Dam, and they put in, I think it's a 15 kW power plant there, and for a long time it ran all the power they needed in TRC. Why is that not considered renewable?
Maybe because it dries up.
Oh, well,
it's craziness. Apparently they don't have good lobbyists in the hydropower industry because it's not considered renewable. It just isn't.
The water that shows up at a dam and then goes downstream is not renewable.
It does not count as renewable energy for the renewable portfolio standard.
So we need to get the people that write stuff like that and drop them down an empty elevator shaft, because our country does not need that kind of thinking. We need the truth. We need the truth. We need the truth.
And we do. And we also need to hold our politicians, our elected leaders who say they're going to do something accountable. And that's why I appreciate this column, Marita, because you're calling in the chips of the hot wind subsidy. You're calling in Sam Brownback. You're calling in Karl Rove. And you're calling in Governor Bob McDonnell out of Virginia. Bob McDonnell, I was reading your column, and you highlight how he is an all-energy guy.
Where can you find that column?
You can find the column at newsnm.com or Marita at townhall.com.
Townhall.com, yep.
And Bob, go ahead, Marita.
Well, Governor McDonnell is really what the whole column is about. The other issues are kind of just a lead into it. And we've got Lamar Alexander, senator out of Tennessee, is another one of the Republicans that I'm calling out for a different reason, for his support of the stiff punitive regulations from the EPA regarding coal. And I really hope that our listeners will go to that column at News NM and use the links there to let these elected officials, and Karl Rove is not an elected official. I know he's a spokesperson, but he's out there and he carries a lot of weight, and he needs to be called to task. But Governor McDonnell, in particular, campaigned on saying that he was going to make Virginia the energy capital of the East Coast. And he has within his state one of the most wonderful, under-talked about energy resources similar to what we have here in New Mexico, which is why this story caught my interest. And yet he is not coming out in support. He's remaining, he's been Switzerland, as my little brother used to say, on this particular issue.
Yeah.
He won't take a stand on either side of the uranium mining issue in Virginia. And they have 4 nuclear reactors in Virginia that are fueled by uranium.
Oh, man, I wish we had just 2 nuclear reactors in New Mexico. Now, you got to have 2.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
You take one down and refuel it while the other one's running.
You want to call me that? Smile.
Yeah, that's what I tell people right before they call me things. We are News New Mexico. I'm Michael Swicker. We got Aaron Henry Diaz here talking with Marita Noon, EnergyMakesAmericaGreat.org. So, Marita, you got Karl Rove, you got a bunch of Republicans, and they can't see the forest for the trees, it would appear.
Well, that is true. I mean, it's a mystery of why they've chosen to take the stand. And Senator Lamar Alexander, for example, is resolute and he's really kind of obnoxious about the people that are. He's like, no, I'm not changing my mind. I'll support this. So, I guess it's good he's got convictions. I guess he's good of that because McDonnell seems to be bearing the weight of the pressure of the environmental movement. At the conclusion of my column, I have a quote from him off a radio show we did a couple weeks ago where he seems to be waking up. He seems to be getting the clue that the environmentalists are pushing this agenda, and he says in there, he realizes that they're not, no matter what we do, they're not going to be happy because they don't want any mining of any kind, no matter how they might be able to prove uranium mining is safe, etc. But, I know we only have a couple more. We got to at least address the Sand Dune Lizard victory.
Hey,
yes.
Boy, those Sand Dune Lizards are good with teriyaki sauce, they are.
It wasn't that a great thing. I mean, I'm sure you probably already talked about it last night.
Why did we get that victory?
Well, this is the thing that I want to bring up because it's important in everything we're talking about here with Governor McDonnell and Senator Alexander and spokesman Karl Rove is I believe we got that victory because public involvement brought the issue to the level of national attention. The rallies that we had, particularly in Roswell and Midland, the public comment that people sent in, the columns I've written and others, I'm not the only one, I know, I'm just more aware of what I did, and, all the attention for the last 18 months, my friends keep saying, are you still talking about that lizard? Other people will say, aren't you the lizard lady? Which is not a moniker any woman over 50 really wants. But, yeah, we brought a lot of attention to this issue and talked about it and got it in the conversation every time it's possible. And I believe that's a big part of why. Now, that's not, of course, what the Fish and Wildlife Service, the Department of Interior under Ken Salazar is saying, but the environmentalists are furious over this decision, claiming that the Department of Interior has sold out to big oil, which could not be further from the truth. But there were some conservation agreements that the oil companies engaged in to commit to trying to save the habitat of the lizard. And while I think that these conservation agreements are somewhat of a shakedown, the bottom line is that the lizard did not get listed because, this Endangered Species Act is kind of like the Roach Hotel. The critters check in, but they don't ever check out.
Well,
Very difficult. Go ahead.
The thing, Marita, is the fact that in the middle of all this, we still have energy that's affordable. And that's what was endangered. It wasn't the lizard endangered. It was the effect of the lizard making energy not affordable.
Yeah, and I believe that had a potential of about a $35 million per year, billion dollar per year impact on the U.S. economy.
Whoa, that would not be good. The website is energymakesamericagreat.org. Marita Noon is a regular every Tuesday in the second hour. We talk with her. We appreciate what you do, Marita. Thank you so much.
Likewise, I appreciate what you all do. Thanks, guys.